The United States is quietly reshaping its influence across Latin America, and former President Donald Trump is at the center of that shift. In recent months, Trump has taken a personal role in international lobbying efforts that stretch from Brazil to the Caribbean. One of the most controversial involves former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, who was sentenced in September to 27 years in prison for his role in the failed 2022 coup attempt. Trump allies have reportedly pressured Brazil's current president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, using tariffs and sanctions in an effort to secure Bolsonaro's release and potentially clear the path for a political comeback in 2026. At the same time, the Trump administration has openly supported El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, and his use of the Terrorism Confinement Center, a massive maximum security prison. Migrants arrested in the United States and labeled as gang members have been deported there, raising serious legal and humanitarian concerns, but winning praise among hardline conservatives. As Washington tightens its stance on Venezuela, a regional divide has emerged. Trump-aligned governments in Argentina and El Salvador have voiced support for removing Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro. Meanwhile, Brazil, Colombia, and Mexico have pushed back, accusing the United States of violating regional sovereignty and reviving interventionist policies long thought to be buried. Those tensions spilled into a U.S. House hearing on December 17, 2025. Lawmakers praised Mexico for increasing border security and cracking down on drug trafficking, but sharply criticized it for exporting oil to Cuba, helping offset Venezuela's collapsing petroleum industry. Some Republican lawmakers went further, suggesting that if Mexico fails to curb cartel violence, U.S. military involvement could be on the table. Trump himself echoed that warning on January 4th, stating that the United States might have to do something with Mexico. He even suggested that Colombia could face military pressure, saying that action against the country sounds good to him. This approach reflects what analysts describe as an expanded version of the Monroe Doctrine, the 19th century policy asserting U.S. dominance in the Western Hemisphere, and its reach is no longer limited to Latin America. Trump has also reignited his controversial interest in Greenland, claiming it is surrounded by Russian and Chinese vessels, and warning that Denmark cannot secure it alone. From his perspective, Greenland is a national security necessity. Meanwhile, the Caribbean has become a focal point, especially Cuba. For years, Cuba has relied heavily on Venezuelan oil. Since at least 2019, Cuba's state trading company has imported tens of thousands of barrels per day from Venezuela's state oil firm. Much of that oil never reaches Cuban shores, instead being resold for hard currency, often to Chinese buyers. In December, a tanker carrying nearly 2 million barrels of Venezuelan crude departed Caracas, allegedly bound for Cuba. But maritime data later revealed that only a fraction of that oil was transferred before the ship was seized by U.S. Special Forces in the Atlantic. The incident exposed a sophisticated sanctions evasion network linking Venezuela, Cuba, and global buyers. Cuba's influence in Venezuela runs far deeper than trade. For years, Havana supplied thousands of doctors, security advisors, and intelligence operatives who helped keep both Hugo Chavez and Nicolás Maduro in power. Cuban intelligence reportedly played a key role in monitoring Venezuela's military and protecting Maduro personally. According to Cuban officials, dozens of those security officers were killed during a recent U.S. raid on Maduro's compound, a sign that Washington's pressure campaign is no longer theoretical. Political risk analysts say the U.S. naval presence in the Caribbean isn't just about Venezuela. It's about Cuba, too, one expert explained, noting that an aircraft carrier gives Washington leverage over multiple countries at once, Venezuela, Mexico, and Cuba, without launching a full-scale invasion. Whether this pressure will bring down Cuba's communist government remains uncertain. Past protests sparked by food and medicine shortages failed to topple the regime, and Cuban leaders continue to frame the United States as the root of the country's suffering. Still, some analysts believe the system is cracking. With Maduro gone and Venezuela weakened, attention has shifted to Guyana, a small nation sitting on one of the largest oil discoveries of the 21st century. A decades-old border dispute with Venezuela over the Essequibo region has intensified since ExxonMobil uncovered billions of barrels of oil offshore. Guyana now produces more oil per day than Venezuela, despite Venezuela holding the world's largest reserves on paper. In December, U.S. defense officials met with Guyanese leaders and reached an agreement to expand military cooperation. While Guyana denies plans for a U.S. base, analysts suggest its location along vital Caribbean sea lanes makes it a strategic prize. Some believe Guyana would welcome a permanent U.S. military presence to protect its energy resources. Others caution that Trump made it clear American protection comes at a price. As one analyst put it, the question isn't whether the United States is reshaping the Western Hemisphere, it's how far it's willing to go and what it expects in return.